Hot topics, knowledge being spread. It's like warm butter across the bread. Smooth, I know you like that. Flow with the grain and don't fight that. You want righteous love, you found the right match. With Marty McFly, they on the right track. Yeah, gotta dig through dirt to plant the seed. Spread roots till you sprout like a tree. Doni Jones, she the one you wanna see. Doni Jones Live, this is where you wanna be. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Hey, welcome to Doni Jones Live. I am Donnie the Tree Lady hanging out with
that guy who's on the other side of the room today, Marty McFly, just, but it's for good reasons,
It is for a very good reason.
Very good reason.
On our show, we like to bring you great people that are doing great things in the world, to help you live a wonderful, beautiful life. And part of living a beautiful life is getting those finances in order. So we've got somebody on the show today that's going to help with that.
And not just your finances, but your life.
Your life.
Well, I'm always curious about that. Like if once I leave, do I care about the people that's like still here?
Yes, you do.
Why?
Which is why we have this gentleman on.
I know, but it's funny because I've this past month or so, I have buried so many people that they didn't have their insurance stuff together.
Are you trying to tell me they didn't have their life insurance together?
They didn't have, and look. If you don't have it together, you will be in a little box in the backyard with the dog.
Exactly.
I got two people that did that to their husband. Poor little people.
Oh my goodness.
Because they didn't have their life insurance. But anyway.
Well, that's why we have this gentleman on the show today.
Yes.
I think we should tell the people who we have on the show today.
Please do.
We are talking about a gentleman that is a business owner. He's a game changer. And he's somebody that wants to bring solutions to you and your family. And I'm talking about Kevin Brewer, owner of KMG Insurance Solutions. We have him on the show today, and we're excited about that. How are you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing wonderful.
That's good.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
good. I'm doing wonderful too. And thank you for what you do.
And he is sharp.
Very sharp.
Very, very sharp.
Yes.
See, everybody can't sport hot orange.
Yeah.
Everybody can't do that. See, when I try to wear it, it blends in with my skin too much.
I'm not even going to, you got on yellow today and we're going to leave that alone. But if you guys do want to see him though, you can go to YouTube and check us out because as you know, YouTube carries Doni Jones Live. So check us out so you can see this awesome shirt. But Kevin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am originally from St. Louis area.
Get out of here.
I've been living in Atlanta now for about 21 years or so. Moved here in 2000.
Okay.
And, just love it here. Got into the insurance business about 25 years ago or so.
Okay.
And things have been great.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me, just talking to you off camera is obviously you've got a good head on your shoulders.
Yes.
But I always like to find out people's backstory.
Okay.
Because what you do is something that's so needed, but I think a lot of people, especially in our community, take it for granted. How did you get into insurance? Or life insurance. Let's be specific. You're in life insurance.
Well, I do some other, but we'll talk life insurance today. How I got into insurance was by accident, actually. Okay. It wasn't like as though I was searching out for insurance.
Yeah.
What happened is when I initially moved to Georgia.
Yeah.
Actually, it was a little bit before that. My wife and I had gotten married. She got laid off of her job, and the company that I was working for, I got laid off 2 months later.
Oh my goodness.
And we had just had a new baby, and we needed some money. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't get a job right away. You know how it is. You need a job like yesterday.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of great skills. And the insurance industry was the only industry that was hiring, but they were only paying straight commission.
Yeah.
But I knew that I was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I like straight commission for me.
too.
I'm like, dude.
I didn't have a problem with it.
I kill what I eat,
Yeah. So they came to me with an easy proposition. They were like, look, if we do TV commercials.
Yeah.
We provide you with leads.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is go out and sell. And I'm thinking, you going to give me people to talk to?
Yeah.
And so what I told them back when I first started, I'll never forget, I said, look, I want all the leads that everybody else don't want.
Okay.
I'm willing to go wherever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's how it started.
That's
and
awesome.
I was Rookie of the Year that first year with that company.
Wow.
So more insurance than
like
anybody.
that. Like you cut your own path.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what you did. Mm-hmm. You took the words out of my mouth.
I can read your thoughts.
I was going to say that. No, but the reason why they're so powerful is because for those of you that don't know, I own a tree care company here in Atlanta, Don's Tree Service. And when I first started, I actually focused on the underserved communities.
Yes.
And people thought I was crazy. They were like, why would you want to go? They ain't got no money over there. I was like, oh, yes, they do.
Right.
You know, and so I actually did go into the areas that a lot of people didn't want to go, and I cut my own path very similarly to you. So now, obviously with insurance, there's different avenues you could go.
Right.
Why specifically life insurance?
So life insurance happened because there was a need.
Yeah.
From talking with from the meetings that I was having with people. See, I started off selling Medicare insurance.
Oh, okay.
So that was my my ideal client. If you had a Medicare card, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
But as I would meet these people over the
They
years,
was dying on you.
yeah,
No, I'm just
well, not necessarily dying on me, but they would ask me about life insurance.
Yeah.
You know, do I carry it and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So so that's when I started. I'm thinking, okay, there's a need for this.
Absolutely.
So let me find out what type of carriers what type of insurance I want to offer in life and that kind of thing, because some people, their health is so bad they can't even get life insurance.
Yeah.
So I actually have a company that can even help those people. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I did.
Let me ask again. So you said people are so sick or so out, I guess, in bad health that they can't get life insurance?
Right, because life insurance, you have to go through an underwriting process, a health underwriting process.
Right.
Okay.
So there's some health questions that we ask, and if you answer yes to any of those questions, it could eliminate you from getting that policy.
Got it.
So if they expect you to die in like 4 months, it's like, nah, we ain't gonna cover
They
it.
gonna cover it.
Insurance company's not in business to lose.
Oh,
So
wow.
if they look at your mobility rate and they see that, okay, this person's had a heart attack, blah 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 blah. Typically, a person like this only lives to be so many years.
Wow.
And then they will say, nah, we don't want to work with that person.
But you do have a company that
I have a
will take
company
care-
where I don't even have to ask you health questions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Real quickly, before we take a break, we got a minute before we take a break. But I want you to tell people how they can get in contact with you.
Well, you can call us at our office, 770-851-6906. I'm
You
sorry.
gotta know your number. Repeat it one more time for the people.
770-851-6906.
Got it.
6906.
Now, this might be a crazy question, but can you take life insurance out on somebody that you're not related to and not like, family? Like if I see somebody that look like they ain't gonna make it soon, long.
No.
And I want to make an investment.
You have to have basically they call it a common interest in that person.
Okay.
So you can't just take life insurance out on anybody.
See, that's why you can't be. I thought you
Yeah.
could do that.
No,
I thought you could do
no.
that.
I see people at my church all the time that's like, you ain't gonna last long.
Right.
Let me take a policy
You ain't
out
gonna
on you.
last long. Let me just take a policy out on you.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, you can't even take it out on like a cousin or anything like that. You can
What?
take it out on a blood relative, sister,
Can
brother.
I take it out on my dad? 'Cause he's
Dad,
there.
mom,
Okay.
dad, sister, brother, grandmother. Yeah, you
I can
can
take
do
a
that.
policy out. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to talk after.
Okay.
Yeah.
But on a serious note,
Right.
because we do try to educate the people.
Right.
I love it that you're here, but I do want to bring value.
Yes.
So let's start with point 0.0001.
Okay.
Explain to people what life insurance is.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So life insurance is a contract, very important, contract between the insurance company and the insured, the person that's getting insurance. And basically the contract basically states that in your untimely death, there is an amount of money paid to the beneficiary of your choice,
Gotcha.
right? And that's pretty much how it works. And that person gets all of that money, that face amount, that amount of money, tax-free.
Wow.
Yes.
And you can pretty much assign it to whoever you want it to go to, right?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So like if you had a wife and a girlfriend, you could split it up.
You could.
And somebody could get 50% and the other one get 50%.
You sure could. You can do that.
I'm gonna act like
Not for
it.
me. I just,
I'm
I
gonna
counsel a
act
lot
like-
of people.
But
I counsel a lot of people.
You
and
want
I
to
just
make
wanna
sure
know.
that beneficiary is responsible, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's certain questions that I do want to ask them. We got, some serious questions because
Yeah.
certain things have happened to, well, I'm going to put it out there to my family. Okay.
Right.
And this is serious,
Right.
where a daughter thought that she was going to inherit so much money from the insurance or whatever.
Yeah.
And they found out later on that her father didn't sign the birth certificates. You know, so it's found. So officially, she's not a blood relative.
Wow.
You know, so
But
she
they
was.
can do a DNA test, can't they?
It depends on how much money you got, I guess.
Let's go back to Mr.
But
Brewer.
no, that's a question.
Okay, that is a question.
Yeah, but you know, it's I guess still having your money and your policy and everything written out correctly before it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess that's the biggest thing.
Well, typically there's due diligence that takes place once you submit the application to the insurance company. They do their background checks and all of that. So,
okay,
you know, once that policy becomes active or issued, they got to abide by the policy.
Got it.
So it doesn't matter if you're in the case that you're talking about that someone didn't sign a death certificate. If the insurance company signed off on that thing and said, okay, everything is in good order, they got to pay. It's a contract.
Well, we're going to go through some really good questions pertaining to this. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited about you being on the show. But I want you to kind of dispel a myth real quick, because a lot of people think the only people that need life insurance is rich people or people that have a bunch of assets. Could you speak to that?
No, life insurance, everybody needs life insurance. Simply because you just don't want to be a financial burden on your loved ones. Yeah. Right? Many of us have had people to die in our families, and the family is trying to raise money just to bury them. It's already a stressful time.
That's right.
Already. So everybody needs life insurance, and the younger you are, the cheaper it is.
That is so true.
That is true.
So I'm too old now. I'm just kidding.
Well, you know, and I it hurts me because usually people that don't take care of their life, you know, affairs, then they call the church. Can you help sister so and so's family because we're trying to put her? You know, they didn't have any money.
Right.
And I'm like, look, what I give ain't gonna really do a whole lot. I got $20, and that ain't gonna put you nowhere deep in that ground. Right. But we gotta take a quick break.
Yeah, we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna get into some meat and potatoes about life insurance. Once again, I'm Donnie, the tree lady, hanging out with
that guy Marty McFly, learning about life insurance
with Mr. Kevin Brewer. Yep. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Yep.
It's Doni Jones Live. Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live. Doni Jones Live.
You may have wondered if you really need to wear a mask. Emergency physicians want you to know that covering your face when you need to be in public is one of the most effective and easy ways to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. Even if you don't think you're sick, it's still smart to cover your nose and mouth with a mask or cloth because you could be infected and contagious, but not show any symptoms. Droplets of the virus emitted when someone talks, breathes, coughs, or sneezes can live in the air for up to 3 hours. Without a cure, personal choices and safe behaviors are the best defense against spreading COVID-19 and overwhelming our healthcare system. Cover your face, wash your hands frequently, and practice social distancing. These 3 simple steps offer the best protection until we have a vaccine. Communities may be reopening, but we are not out of the woods yet. We can all do our part.
Stay safe, cover your face.
Stay safe and cover your face.
Stay safe. Cover your face.
It's Doni Jones Live. Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live. Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live. Doni Jones Live.
Welcome back to Doni Jones Live. I am Donnie the Tree, hanging out with
that guy who had to change his name from Yellow Butter to Marty McFly and Pastor Ringer on Sundays. But of course,
exactly. And on the show today, we have a gentleman. His name is Kevin Brewer, and we were talking about life insurance. And he's the president of KMG Insurance Solutions. And we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of why it's important to have life insurance. But just to get some specifics, a lot of people hear about life insurance, don't completely understand it, but they'll hear the terms term or whole life. Can you break down the difference?
Yes, very easy. Term life is your life insurance policy will end at a certain term. And that term could be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, depending on what type of policy you bought. People need to understand that at the end of that term, what typically happens is that your premium that you were paying for that policy goes up based on your attained age. So now if you bought a 30-year policy, now you're 30 years older, So now that premium is going to be based on a person that's 30 years old. So if you're 30 years old, now you're 60.
Yeah.
It's a big difference in the premium.
Yeah.
But that's the term. So it ends at a certain term. Whole life is a permanent policy.
Okay.
So whole life insurance will take you out through the rest of your life, basically to age 100.
So, in a term, is it saying that this is basically a flat rate for the next 30 years? But now, if, say, 31, I don't redo my term, and something happens to me, do I lose all of that I've paid for the last 30 years?
At the end of 30 years, you're going to have to make a decision if you want to keep that policy or not. So you won't even get to 31.
Okay.
You know,
now, is that would it be a payout or something like that if I say I don't?
No. So term policies, that's another myth. People think that, I can get my money back. I have lived 30 years. I paid all this money in my policy. It wasn't worth it. Well, I beg to differ, because if you passed away during those 30 years, somebody would receive that money.
That's right.
But it ain't me.
Right. Well, it's not you, but you just made somebody really happy.
Yeah, but I might not have liked them. But that's interesting though. But and then a whole term is just until the end of your.
So it's not a whole term. It's considered whole life insurance. So basically, your premium never changes. Your face amount never changes. It's just, and if you live to be 100, it endows. Basically, they will give you the money that's in the policy at age 100.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So why would people, but wait a minute. So why would people choose term life as opposed to whole life, or whole life as opposed to term? Can you explain that?
Because things change. My grandmother used to say, just keep on living. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we do. We get older, right? So things change in our lives. I was giving an example of a 30-year-old with a 30-year term. Now they're 60. Think about all the differences that have changed now that we're 60. We don't have the same health.
Yeah.
We probably earned more money when we were in our 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So now we're coming up on retirement.
Yeah.
And if you were paying $30 a month for that term policy, and now you're 60, and that same policy is now 130, but your income is way down here.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Yeah.
We got to make a decision. Do I want to keep this, or do I want to let it go?
Right. Okay. So is there a big difference price-wise between whole life and term life? And I'm asking, to be real, I do know the answers to a bunch of these, but I feel like we really want to make sure people understand.
Yes.
Because people are starting to think about these things, especially in the last 2 years.
Right.
There's people that ain't here no more. You know what I mean? That were here 2 years ago.
Right.
And I think this is something that can help a lot of people.
Yes.
So that's why I'm asking in this way. So why would somebody pick one over the other, in your opinion?
So terms.
Or what do you suggest they pick?
Well, it depends on the individual.
Okay.
That's why I'm a little bit different. I like to find out what your needs are.
Okay.
What you're looking to. What do you want to happen in the future?
Okay.
And then I can help you tailor a program based on your needs and your situation.
Yeah.
Term policies are typically lower in premium.
Yeah.
So you can get a higher face amount for a low premium.
Okay.
But that's how life insurance companies make all their money, because most people outlive the term, and they've collected all those premiums throughout all those years.
Yeah.
Now, and then you gotta re-up.
Yeah.
At a higher rate.
Yeah.
Right? So you can get more insurance for term for a less premium, but whole life is typically a little bit higher, but you don't have to worry about the dealing with that 30-year decision.
Yeah. But if you're 50 years old and you get, let's say, a 50-year term.
You can't get a 50-year term.
What's the longest you can get?
35, maybe 35 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's only either like the 30, 35 or whole life.
And depending on how old you are, so if you're 50, they probably want to give you a 30-year policy. Now that window has closed up a little bit, so now they may give you you may get a 20-year, you may have to go 15,
Yeah, but
10.
people live till 90 and 95, though, 100
some
years
people,
old.
not
Life insurance companies, you can age out of life insurance. So when you turn about 85 years old, nobody will take you anymore.
Except the company you got.
Even that company, no. Even that company, even that company has an age limit where they will take people, and I think their age limit is 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 80. So
Okay.
at 85, if you don't have any life insurance,
Yeah.
more than likely you probably can't get it from anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they're expecting you to not.
Because they expect you not to live that much longer. Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
Another question for me is, what all do you get? I'm saying, like, okay, I buy a life insurance policy, a term or whole life, and is that just a lump sum at the end?
Right.
You know, or does that involve anything else versus just a payout to whoever is happy that I get left?
Yeah, so it's basically, that's called your face amount. So whatever that face amount is, if you pass away, they look at the contract we talked about
Right.
before. Whoever's listed on as a beneficiary of that contract,
Yeah.
they will send that person the face amount of that policy, tax free.
Okay.
So if you got somebody on there that you probably an old family member that now on drugs or something like that,
Yeah.
and you forgot about it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you pass away, now you got a drug addict with about $10, $15, $20,000
Ooh, let
who
me make
probably
a-
won't even give you the money to pay to bury you.
Let me make a
Oh,
note
wow.
real quick.
But isn't there a part of your policy that can be specifically set aside for burial? Aren't there policies like that has like a burial addendum or something like that?
Well, so I think we're talking about two different things. We're talking
Okay.
about more of something that you would
Educate me.
get. Well, something that you would get at a funeral home.
Okay.
So you go to the funeral home and they say, okay, hey, we can set up
Okay.
a final
Okay.
a final thing. So we'll it costs so much for the opening and closing of the grave,
Got
the
it.
casket,
Okay,
and that
got
kind of
it,
thing.
got it.
That's an agreement that you
I wanna
have
be
with
educated, so.
with the funeral home, and then
Okay.
you pay them certain amount until you reach a certain amount. Life insurance is different. Life insurance is based on the face amount, cash, and that's
Yeah.
it.
You
And
know-
you can do whatever you want to do with the money.
awesome.
We actually did an interview about a year ago with a young lady who was working at a funeral home.
Yep, that's right.
And it's interesting because she said life insurance is made for the ones that are living. And I think it was a death insurance or death something.
Yeah.
You know, preparation for when it's time for you to go. You already have everything answered. You know,
Right.
your casket, if you wanted to have your obituary already written out and everything.
Yeah.
That the funeral home deals with that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
You pretty much deal with life insurance of the people that are left after you gone.
Right.
Which I don't really care about.
Right.
You know.
But it's not necessarily for, I mean, you can't look at it as though it's just for people left when you're gone, because that
Yeah.
money is really should be used for your final wishes. So you can spell out, hey, this is kind of funeral I want to have, this, that, blah, 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 blah,
But
blah.
that
and
would
it
go in your
should-
will though, or will it go
You
in
can
your
put it in the will,
life
but
insurance?
there's also like all of my carriers. I even have a booklet. It's called Final Wishes booklet. So what I do is when I sell a life insurance policy and I go over the policy with them once I deliver it,
Yeah.
I show them this book, this Final Wishes book, and it spells out everything. Hey, when you get some time, fill this out, right? And then put it in your policy.
Yeah.
So now when something happens to you and your kids go and find the policy and they see that book, and I'm like, oh, Mom, Dad, this is what they wanted to happen.
absolutely.
And you take that and give that to the funeral home.
Oh,
I love
you know,
that.
And you know, it's amazing. I hear so many, and if I ask questions, you're gonna think that I'm joking. But y'all heard in the news last month where a house was being up for sale or something like that,
Yeah.
but the owners were dogs. Because the initial owner left everything
To their
animals.
dogs,
Right,
yeah.
right. So is there any like policies that you can say, because people are really connected to their animals,
Right,
believe it or not.
right.
You know, I've actually done a service or two for an animal. But are people able to put in their policy, their life policy, like, okay, I want Fufu to be, taken care of with this amount of money, and I want to put him in this kind of state. Do they actually write that in policies?
I would suggest put that in your will.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
the insurance companies I work with, the pet is not an option.
yeah.
It's not an option as far as who the beneficiary can be.
Got
So
it.
I don't really think you can put it in a pet's name.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I don't want to say you can't.
Yeah, well, I know my side of town, people don't do that. But in this area where we're at,
Right.
Yeah.
people
Right.
tend to
You know
love their
what?
horses and
Right.
dogs and
We
everything.
do love our horses.
I want to have a nice burial for them when they
Yeah.
transition, and so I just curious though.
But back to life insurance.
It's still life insurance. Like I said,
Yeah.
you think that I'm making jokes, but these are things that
I
people do.
understand.
Yes,
Just
yes.
messing
They
with
want
you.
to. If I've been with my animal for the last 10 years or whatever, and I passed, I
Yeah.
want someone to be able to take care of it. But I think
Yes.
you answered that's more of a will versus
Yeah.
a life insurance
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah. What are some common misconceptions that people have about life insurance that you'd like to kind of dispel?
Well, it's important that people understand what type of policy that they're getting.
Okay.
Okay. I tend to see a lot of people when I meet with them, that's one of the things that I always ask. Do you have life insurance?
Yeah.
And some people may say, well, yes, I do. And my next question is, can you go get the policy? Let me take a look at it.
Yeah.
And some people may say, well, why do you want to see my policy? Well, because I'm a professional insurance person.
That's right.
And I understand these policies very well.
Yeah.
And in the past, I have had people that thought they had something in their policy that wasn't really there. I want to make sure that that's not happening to you.
Absolutely.
Go get the policy.
Now, we got to take a break, but I want to ask, can you change the policy then?
Yeah.
You can. You can change the policy.
Yeah.
That goes with the contracts and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, we got to take a quick break. This is really informative. I'm loving this. But you're listening to Doni Jones with Doni Jones, Marty McFly,
and Mr. Kevin Brewer.
Yes. And we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Get on top of it before they do. About every 30 minutes, tipped furniture or a falling TV sends an injured child to the emergency room. Preventing tip-over incidents is easy, inexpensive, and only takes about 5 minutes. Learn how to secure your furniture and TVs to protect children at anchor.com.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Welcome back to Doni Jones Live. I am Doni, the Tree Lady.
And I am that guy, Marty McFly, learning well, I can't say that on radio, but learning right now, learning. And
we're learning a lot.
Yeah, and we're here with Mr. Kevin Brewer, who is a guru of life insurance.
Yes.
And one of the things that I wanted to ask before we took the last break, because I'm used to contracts being contracts,
right?
And that's the purpose of a contract, an agreement. But you're saying, okay, if I've signed a life insurance policy and I can bring it to you, you can review it and say, hey, they left some things out of here that you might want to address and you might want to look at. Let's go back and change the contract.
Well, not necessarily change the contract. There's some things that you can do. You can change the owner of the policy. You can change the beneficiaries. All that's done in writing, though.
Okay.
So the insurance company that you have, there's a document that they have that you need to fill out, send it in. The owner has to sign it, and everything. Everybody has to sign off. Then you send it into the insurance company. Because I'm gonna tell you what happens. The story about when I ask people about their policies. Sometimes, what if the beneficiary of the policy has already passed away? Right? But they forgot. They never thought about their own policy, right? So now, if you die, who gets the money if the beneficiary has already passed away?
Is that why you should have an alternate beneficiary?
There you go.
That's what I said, the
I
girlfriend and the wife.
No.
That's what I'm saying, the girlfriend and the wife. Whoever go first, the other one get it. I'm just playing.
Goodness.
My wife might listen to this.
I think she does listen, and you're going to be in trouble.
Let's just keep it going. Next thing on that.
But Kevin, it's obviously you're very knowledgeable about this. Tell us a little bit about you and why you're so passionate about this.
I got into this business for the right reasons.
Yeah.
It wasn't about making money. It was about truly helping people.
Yeah.
And I knew going into it that the word insurance has a bad name,
right?
Especially insurance agent.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be different. So what I decided to do was learn my craft, learn it to the best of any. I wanted to be better than anybody.
Yeah.
And then when I sat down with an individual and talked with them about my services, my insurances, I wanted them to understand that this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And I paint the whole picture. I just don't come in and give you a price.
Right.
Let's talk about your situation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize if you're married and somebody dies, you just lost half your income.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the question is, can you continue to keep this nice house?
Yeah.
Can you continue to live the lifestyle you've been living now that your significant other has passed away?
Absolutely.
Nobody talks about that kind of stuff. They just come in and say, okay, I want a $100,000 term policy. Okay, this is what it costs. I'm not that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the reason that I'm that way, people tend to tell their friends about me because, hey, he's different than the other guy. And I will tell you that 90% of all the customers we have today, which is over 3,000,
wow,
came through referrals.
You make a lot of money. No,
I do all right.
I love it. But you know, we talk about entrepreneurship and we talk about brand, and you've obviously built a successful brand, but it seems like it also comes from your heart. It's not just the business end and knowing, you know, why you do it, but it's like there's an energy about you that it's like, you know, you're making a difference in people's lives, you know. What's your background prior to being in the agency? Prior to
that, I was always in sales.
Okay.
I graduated from Kentucky State University.
See, I thought you was going to say you was an athlete because I saw your ring.
Actually, you know what? This is a KMG ring. So basically, this is a ring that that I had actually made for myself, because when we hit our $1 million threshold, you know, I wanted to gift myself with something to say. You know, but
I've been sitting here thinking, ex-football player, y'all.
No,
go to YouTube and watch
he made his own Super Bowl ring.
I ain't mad at him.
So on this ring, though, it has the fact that we're a better business. We're accredited business through the Better Business Bureau. With the fact that we're a part of the National Ethics Association.
Yeah.
And it also has my name on there, and the fact that I'm the CEO of the company. That's it.
You know, Donnie, I wanted to save this for the next segment. But it's interesting with some of his story. He told me a few things when we were setting up, you know, about his story, about how he was getting started and everything.
Yeah.
And he shared two things with me that usually I try to wait to the next segment about the inspirational thing.
Yeah.
But I think
you
I can
be inspirational in the
right. But he told me a story that kind of goes with him saying that, you know, he bought that ring after he met this milestone.
Yes.
And so, if you don't mind, if you would tell me about that day in 2006 when you was at church.
In 2006, you want to know just Let me try to make it short too.
We can bleed into the next time, but let's see if we can make it short.
So basically, what happened in 2006, December 1st, 2006, which is my grandmother's birthday. She's one of the reasons why I'm the way I am today. I was at church.
Yeah.
Small church. The pastor had invited a prophet to come to the church. At the time, I was working the sound. So I was in the back booth working the sound for the church. And we typically only had 40 people to come to this church on a regular basis. But this particular night, this prophet came. It was packed.
Yeah.
I've never seen this many people at the church. So the prophet started to prophesy to people, and you know, it was just crazy. You know, they were screaming and hollering and running around the church. And as I was telling Marty that I was the guy that was sitting back there like, is this real?
Yeah.
You know, because this just don't seem right.
Yeah.
And it got so bad to a point to where people were lined up down the middle aisle.
Yeah.
And the prophet was prophesying to him, and they were giving him money, as you know, as far as a donation or something.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, this ain't right.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now like, this ain't right. You know. But in the middle of all of that, the prophet stops what he's doing and he says, "You back there." And I looked and I'm thinking, is he talking to me?
Yeah.
He says, "Yeah, you back there in the booth."
Yeah.
And I said, "Me?" He says, "Yes." He says, "Come here."
Wow.
So I walk past all these people that have been standing in line, and I go to the front, and he calls me by my name. He says, "Do you know a Kevin?" And I jumped, and I'm thinking, he says, "Is that you?" I said, "Yes, sir, that's me." He says, "KB, listen." Well, my last name is Brewer. So K Brewer, Kevin Brewer. He says, "Listen, God is he wanted me to tell you that you're finally going to succeed at what you've been trying to do in business." Well, I was in insurance. I was just a young man trying to get this insurance thing going. And but he said a lot of things, but he also said to me that I see you on television and I see you in radio.
Wow.
And at the time, I was thinking to myself, I don't know nobody in radio. I don't know nobody in TV.
Wow.
And several years passed. Oh, another important thing that I told Marty is that because I was a sound man, I taped it and I took the CD home with me, and my wife typed up the prophecy, right? And we scanned it, and I had it in my cell phone.
Wow.
So all those, so several years passed by while I'm still trying to build this business.
Yeah.
And when I would get down on myself and the business and the industry, I would go back and read that prophecy. Right? And it gave me hope, because one thing about me, I believe if God said it, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
We just don't know when it's going to happen.
Oh my goodness! Why are you messing with me right now? Why are you messing?
That's why I knew.
I
this
know
was a
why
great
you
story.
want. Why are you messing with me?
I knew this was a great
Why
story.
are you messing with me? Y'all don't know.
So
This is my
when
brother.
he
Go
turns
ahead.
back around and says, "I got this ring," because we, after all of that, you see the blessing,
The manifestation.
yeah, the manifestation of it, and the parts that really stuck to me is writing it down,
Yeah.
the vision, and understanding that even though the vision was written down in 2006,
Come on.
to see where he's manifested himself at now,
Yeah.
it's like for me that's the testimony,
That is
for
the
anybody out
testimony.
there that is dealing with their business or dealing with any kind of situation, it might be a ministry or whatever. Understand that if God tells you it,
That's right.
Believe it. That's one of the big things. Believe it, but write it down. Write the vision down. Make it plain.
Make it plain.
You will see it manifest.
And this almost in fact, not almost, it does piggyback on last week's show where we were talking about this. Writing it down, making it plain. You having to be it in your own mind before it actually happens. Like you have to be it before it happens.
Right. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people lose track of that. They lose sight of that, and they're looking for it to be there, and it's not there yet, but it is.
Right.
It is. If it's up here, it's going to be here as long as you don't quit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And create a strategy. You got to get a strategy and a
Yes.
plan, which you already have
Yes,
that.
yes.
But sometimes we do need somebody to speak into us and go, wow. And really, they're not even speaking into us. They're confirming what God already said.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is absolutely beautiful. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with Mr. Kevin Brewer. You're listening to Doni Jones Live. I am Doni the Tree Lady.
And I am that guy still on the other side of the room, but I'm Marty McFly. But it's a great day. I'm enjoying it. So we'll be right back. All right.
Okay.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
One man. One bottle. It doesn't seem like much. There are 7 billion people on this planet and 325 million Americans. We use 25 million plastic bottles every hour. Most of them are thrown away. We don't realize how much we waste. But if 10% of Americans decided to recycle newspapers, we would save 25 million trees a year. So the next time you finish reading a newspaper, or finish that last drop, instead of throwing it away, choose to recycle.
Welcome back to Doni Jones Live. I am Doni the Tree Lady with
that guy, Marty McFly, that's just here learning more and more and more about life insurance.
Yes.
And just life, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, well, I think that's a big part of life. And we are here with Kevin Brewer of KMG Insurance Solutions. I'll say that again,
Yes.
KMG Insurance Solutions. You got to get it right, Donnie. But seriously, before we went to break, we were kind of wrapping up how you do what you do, why you do what you do, and why it's so important. But there were some things that we wanted to kind of wrap up and kind of tap on before we head out. And I think it was something about the waiting period and why it's important to understand that.
So earlier we were talking about policies where people didn't have such great health.
Yeah.
But we can still get them taken care of, or they may not be able to get insurance.
Right.
So today, people need to understand that when you watch these television commercials on TV, when they say you can get X amount of insurance, like, I don't know if I can say this, but I really want to.
Say it.
Okay, so
this is a podcast. You can do anything.
There's a commercial out.
Well, that's true. We are on some TV and radio stations.
Go ahead.
Okay, we'll edit it if we need to.
Well, there's a commercial out saying that you can get life insurance for $9.95.
Oh, that's with Calvin.
You guys,
Stop with you.
No, I see that little dude because they running all the time like I know the little dude.
Oh,
and it's like, but I know what you're talking about.
Everything's $9.95.
Right.
It doesn't matter how old you are, it's $9.95.
Yeah.
All that is just a ploy to get you to call because it ain't $9.95. Remember, life insurance is based on your age, your health, and everything.
Yeah.
Those policies that they're talking about, I actually called the company and they told me, I said, well, how can I get the $9.95 deal? They said, well, that's based on a unit. A unit? I said, okay, how much is a unit worth? Well, it depends on this and that. We can have an agent call you. No, I don't need you to have an agent call me. Send me some information. I never got the information, by the way.
Wow.
But that policy has a waiting period. And the waiting period is 2 years.
Are you serious?
So and they don't tell you that, but it's in the small little print. If you look at the television commercial, it's a 2-year wait. So basically what that means is that if you buy a policy, this type of policy, if you die in the first 2 years, your beneficiary will not receive the entire face amount. So if you bought a $10,000 policy, in the first 2 years it has that waiting period, the only money that will be paid out is what you paid in premium plus a little bit of interest. That's it.
Wow.
So you ain't getting a whole lot of,
We would like to make sure you thank Doni Jones Live for clearing the air on that. Because seriously, people be buying stuff or looking into stuff and don't even know what they're getting into.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And go ahead.
No, I was gonna disagree with you because I think that's a lot of the bait and switch. Where, even because you see it all the time on TV where they'll say, you could join this club for just $10. And then you realize it's only for 1 day out of the week. At this one location, right? And it's like, okay, that's a bait and switch. But I've seen that commercials where you've seen some older crippled people like, I got diabetes, I got 1 week to live, but they said I could get approved for $9.99. You know,
Right.
And it's like, well, what's the underlying thing? But that makes sense that they don't get what you expect, within that first, and you said 2 years.
Yeah, so that's what they call a guaranteed issue whole life policy.
Yeah.
So when they say guaranteed, that means that typically you don't even have to answer the health questions. Anybody can get the policy.
Yeah.
It's just that the face amount won't be available to the beneficiary for 2 years.
Wow.
And some policies are 3 years.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, just for my clarification, when you say the face amount,
that's the amount that you purchased. So if you bought a life insurance policy worth $100,000 or $50,000, that $100,000 or $50,000 is called the face amount.
Okay.
Okay. So in this case,
you only get what you put into that.
Yeah, you're only going to, in the first 2 years, if you're paying $50 a month, you're going to get $50 times the number of months that you were living.
That you've paid,
and then a little bit of interest, but you won't get whatever that face amount was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, mama listening, you're going to be in a box.
So clearly people need to be calling you to get in touch with you or your company to get some life insurance. How can people get in contact with you?
Just give us a call at our office, 770-851-6906. Or you can reach us on the website. Our web address is kmginsurance.com.
All right.
Perfect.
And you're licensed in Georgia and what other
So I'm licensed in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And we have listeners all over the place. So you guys don't think just because he's in Atlanta, he can't help you. You can help him. Any of those places, you can help him. Or if you've got relatives in those places, have them reach out to Kevin, because the man knows what he's talking about. Now, you mentioned church and your faith and you know, a prophecy that was spoken over your life. It sounds to me like faith is a really big, I guess, a big thing for you in your life.
I don't know how I can make it without it, you know.
Yeah.
This business, I tell you, I mean, there's been plenty of things that have happened to me over the years that would cause a normal person to quit. But that one prophecy that I got back in 2006, it was everything to me. And then to see that it actually happened in around 2014 is when it all really happened for me. I mean, I went from a small guy just selling insurance out of my house to now I own an office and employees and, you know, I mean, we're a big business now.
That's right.
And it all happened. And you know what? In 2014, that's when I was on the radio. Just like the prophet said. That's when I got on TV. Just like the prophet said. And I had no idea how any of that was going to happen. But the prophet said it. So God said it was going to happen. So that's, faith is very big with me. Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is that, because we do have a lot of entrepreneurs and dreamers that listen to our show and watch our show. Can you give us an example of a moment when it was just nothing but your faith and your family or your will to make things happen that kept you going? Do you have a specific situation or a story that would be encouraging to our listeners?
I have a situation that happened when I first got into insurance. I was what they call a captive agent. And that basically means that's an insurance agent that works for an agency. And when you get your insurance contracts, it's all done through that agency. But if you ever left that agency, they will cancel all your contracts and keep all the business.
Oh wow!
Oh my goodness!
I didn't know that when I first got into the business. This was the company that said, "Hey, we'll give you the leads and you go out and sell them." And that's what happened to me back then. I can't tell you how much money I lost. I literally had to start over, and I was with that agency for the first 4 years of my insurance career.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
So I did almost $1 million in premium the first year.
Oh my goodness.
And you know, I get renewals based on all those customers. So when I left that agency to do something, to work with a different agency, all those customers I had to leave behind.
Wow.
I had to start over again. That's enough right there. You don't have no faith.
So in other words, read the fine print in whatever you do.
But you know, it's amazing listening to your story, and even more the totality of your story. You know, gives me more understanding of the faith, and then also understanding how God can take you from a crisis that you can look at, but then how he's allowed that crisis to transform your life.
That's right.
Because in the beginning of it, I'm not sure if we said it or we just talked previously, but he said him and his wife lost their job within the first, within a few months apart. That pushed him to get into insurance. That pushed him to get to where he's at now.
That's right.
If he had not lost his job, and his wife did not lose her job, you still might be at that job, not happy. You know, but just one of those things that looking at it and understanding that you had said that in 2006 you got the prophecy. And 2014 you saw it manifest. Just like that goes back to delayed does not mean denied.
Exactly.
And just keeping that faith.
That is so powerful what you said, because you know, as dreamers and as entrepreneurs, people want it right now. And you know, it doesn't happen that way. You know, you don't get out of a ditch all in one fell swoop. It takes time. You know, and I think a lot of people aren't willing to take that time. Any last thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience about you, your company, or just something that you'd like to leave us with?
Well, I just want people to know that life insurance is serious business. Okay? And it's so important to understand what you have. And if you don't really understand it, just give us a call. I don't charge you a dime. You know, we don't charge for our services. I get paid from the insurance companies. But I can offer a lot of advice, a lot of information that you may not be aware of. You know, because there's certain policies out there that If you're in the wrong policy, by the time you hit a certain age, you start getting into your senior years, it could lapse on you. You don't even realize that that's happening because some agent didn't sell it to you the right way years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the main things I want people to understand. Look at your policy. If you don't understand it, give us a call.
Exactly.
We won't charge you a dime. We'll get to the bottom of it. And here, I'm this way also. If I determine that what you have is good, I'm going to tell you that.
Oh,
I don't just try to sell you a new insurance policy. Yes, I'm going to tell you that. But if I can show you where, and I do it a little bit different. I just don't tell you. I call up your insurance company with you on the phone.
I love it. I love it.
And they talk to you first, and they give me permission to speak with them on your behalf. But we're all on the phone together.
And speaking of the phone, we got to wrap up, but give them your phone number one more time.
708516906.
Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was an absolute pleasure, and I really believe that our audience will get a lot out of this. So take his advice, get your life insurance, call him if you have any questions. Once again, you are listening to Doni Jones Live. I am Doni, the tree lady.
And I am that guy to make sure she stop hitting her microphone.
Oh my goodness, that's right.
I'm Mighty Big Fly, and I'm had a great time here with Kevin, and we will talk to y'all next week.
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, huh?
Instagram.
Yep, AI.
Spotify.
Yep,
AIB. Apple. Anywhere you can find a podcast.
Just type
Look us up, y'all.
Doni, Doni, right?
Jones Live. Doni Jones Live.
Yep.
We gotta go.
Bye.
See ya.
Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni.
Oops. Uh-oh.
Get on top of it before they do. About every 30 minutes, tipped furniture or a falling TV sends an injured child to the emergency room. Preventing tip-over incidents is easy, inexpensive, and only takes about 5 minutes. Learn how to secure your furniture and TVs to protect children at anchorit.gov.
Nearly 160,000 students stay home from school each day to avoid getting bullied. More than 8 million people have an eating disorder in America.
You're ugly, worthless, and stay.
When you say something hurtful to someone, you can't erase it. It hurts.
Things like this are serious. To cry for help when you have no voice. It can end in suicide.
If you see or know somebody that's cutting, help them or tell an adult.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.